Hi, my name is Stacy Page, and I'm a Head Start teacher at Duff Allen Central Elementary, and that is located in Floyd County, Kentucky. And I really enjoyed the Striving Readers program because of the great strategies and resources that I got during my trainings. And one of the biggest thing that really helped me as a teacher is the book Literacy Beginnings. And I was really particularly interested in the section 5 of the book. It dealt with learning about letters, sounds, and words. And in that unit, it gave a lot of helpful information about the building blocks and foundations in literacy. And a lot of times in pre-K, we like to put the horse before the cart, so to speak, but it takes you right down to the beginning on how to implement wonderful, wonderful strategies in your classroom to teach your kids those early learning skills. So, one of the things that I liked from the chapter was names. It had a whole section on how names are important and why names are the first thing that kids should be learning and ways to implement that in the classroom. And one of the things that we used was name puzzles. We took the themes and I made them up and we made names to everything that we had. For example, like Dr. Seuss, we had their name cut out in strips of paper in the shape of his hat. And we sometimes gave them a visual prompt. This is depending on what tier level they were at. If they were baby fresh and new to literacy and to the classroom, we would give them the visual prompt of their first name. If this was a seasoned student, a returnee, we would take away the visual prompt of their first name and allowed them to build the puzzle on their own from their memory. So this helped them to understand that letters are important, their name's important to them, and this showed them that letters are important. And it also taught them that when I put letters together, it forms a word. Okay, and another activity that we did that really went over well is that I would make a big sheet of paper with puzzles and stuff on it, and I would put their names. Like, I would take a poster board and put all their names on it, and then they would have to go search their name. And I started out using different colors, and then they caught on, oh, my name's Blue, so I'm just going to go find the blue words and only, go through there. So we had to make it a little bit harder, and we wrote the names in black on white so that every name visually looked the same, except for they had to differentiate it by the actual letters in their name. So then we would transition from circle time to center time using this strategy. And it really increased the percentage of children learning their name and the correct order of the letters of their name, and that their name began with an uppercase letter. So this was a tremendous help and a great strategy. Another thing that we did is we used a lot of modeling, repetition, and we also gave visual prompts. But the greatest help in literacy of letter recognition and producing that letter sound would have to be, we did Miss Bissett's Zoophonics. So we did movement to the letters and the letter sounds. For example, C was k, k, C for that sound, and then D was d, d, D. And we used that video every day and modeled the sound to our students, and we did the movement and gave them a visual prompt, and then we slowly started taking things away. We started taking away the visual prompts, we started taking away the motions, and then we just would talk about the letters. What letter sound does D make? And then they were able to tell us, but a lot of times when they would repeat it back to us, they would do that motion for D, 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 D. Door, duh, duh, door. Okay, and another great activity that we did is in the room that we have charts, and this was in section 5, and it was a great resource. What we did is we had charts in our room, and we would group the names together. Like, everyone with the letter A would be listed first. I'm just going to give you some example names. Ashley, Adeline, Ava. And then the B's, Brantley, then the C's, and they would start to recognize, hey, I've got friends that have the same letter in their name as I do. And so when we were doing circle time and I would show them a visual prompt of the letter W, what sound does W make? Who in this room begins with the letter W? So they were picking up the letters of the friends in the room, the beginning letters of their first names. And also on the puzzles, what we did with that, which was really helpful, once they got their first name, we moved on to their second and their last name. Okay, also some more interesting things that we did, how we implemented the strategies, is we did a lot of puzzles with their names. We put their names in puzzles and they would have to search through them, or we did some letter bingo, and that was very helpful. Okay, and word walls. The word walls were awesome. We would do a different word wall, a letter of the week, and we would brainstorm some words that begin with that letter, and then we would plan where we were going to produce that during center time. For example, if I gave them the letter S and they said soup or snake, they would say, well, I'm going to go to the art center. How are you going to produce that in the art center? And they would talk about how they were going to produce the S, the brainstorm of the S word, in those different centers. Like in dramatic play, they would make soup. In the art center, they would draw their friend, or they would draw me for Stacy, S for Stacy. And then once they learned their own names, and we got to move on to some early literacy skills, and we picked up some rhyming. And this has just been a great resource. I've enjoyed my time with Striving Readers. Excuse me. It has really opened me up to some different strategies and ways that kids learn, because not every kid learns the same way. Some are visual, some are audio. So I just really enjoyed the program. And one of the challenges we did have is with virtual learning. When we went virtual, to keep that same style of literacy and teaching and all these skills going, we had to come up with more creative ways to keep them engaged in a virtual meet, because pre-K in a virtual meet, you really have to become creative with that. So, and then the positive thing that we noticed, which really excited me, and it happened this year, we were teaching color words, and the most exciting thing happened. We had a student that already knew some of these color words. I was like, wait a minute, we haven't taught this yet. How did she learn that? Well, Mom had been listening. We didn't see Mom on our screen, but Mom had been listening to a lot of things that we were doing, and she was implementing our teaching strategies with the child. So when we were starting out with red, she was moving on to the next color word and using the same style and technique to teach her child. So it was a big hit with them parents, and they were really impressed at how fast our kids were learning the letters and the letter sounds and these color words. And it was just been such a positive experience. I hope to get to do some more literacy skills with Striving Readers and look forward to future work with the program. My name's Stacy Page. You have a blessed day.